Welcome back to Daytime Live. Now we are joined today, as I said before we went to the break, the beautiful, and she's...
That's why he's happy. I told you he's very happy.
Ann-Merita Golding, who is here to talk to us about speech therapy. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's nice to be here.
Listen, Ann-Merita, it's our pleasure. I know a lot of people who are watching, they're thinking to themselves, yo, what do you mean? What do you mean? What exactly is speech therapy?
Well, coming off of the heels of the Ministry of Health Expo, I'm happy to talk about it some more because I spent the last 2 days doing that. So my field is called speech language pathology, but most people know me as a speech therapist.
Right.
And the speech language pathology, really deals with communication disorders. We are trained and licensed to evaluate, diagnose, and treat speech and language disorders, as well as swallowing. I didn't mention that to you in the break, but we also assess and treat for swallow disorders as well.
What's a swallow disorder?
So the scientific term is called dysphagia, which is a condition that people can have when they have fluctuations in their swallow function. You and I, all three of us, swallow quite well. We eat every day. We don't have Duffy.
I was not looking. You notice I did not look to him. I just asked the question. I'm not even looking over.
We're here.
We are here.
So,
go ahead.
Yes, you can have difficulty in that mechanism that can put you at risk for things like aspiration or malnutrition, because if you're not able to swallow, then that is a life-threatening risk. Yes. But we're really here to talk about speech and language,
Yeah, but that is interesting to
the field doesn't really, in the phrase doesn't encompass swallowing, but yeah, speech therapy. It's what we're trained to do, Duffy.
So
good evening.
Duffy has joined the chat.
Speech therapy,
yes.
Is it confined to the certain ages, a certain demographic, or does it affect like?
It can affect everyone, and as a matter of fact, it's one of those things that you can have an issue. You don't know you can have an issue until you have an issue, or you have a loved one with an issue. What we're finding now, particularly coming out of the pandemic, is that there are a lot of children who are being diagnosed with developmental delays. One of those delays can be speech and language. Now, the reason we differentiate speech and language is because speech is everything you hear coming out of my mouth. Language is the meaning behind it. And so you can have a speech issue, you can have a language issue, or you can have both. When we speak about speech disorders, we're speaking about things like stuttering, phonology, articulation errors, and things of that nature.
Oh, like when somebody says, we try to say film, but keep saying flim.
Right, but that's more...
Not...
Hold on.
No, you have to hold on. Slow down. I say film, they go film.
But
and they say it fast, they go flim.
But the fact that they can say it would suggest that there's no issue there.
Right.
But that it's more of a cultural influence that we often see. Flim versus film.
I think so, because when my daughter, when she was young and she was learning how to read pronunciation, she spent a lot of time in England. And then when she was very young, we moved to America. And then we kind of went to Hawaii while she was learning how to ABC. I thought she was not very smart because she struggled between, because in England it was very A, E, I, and in America it's very A, E. So it's a different type of sound.
It sounds as if she would have been exposed to a lot of code switching. So you have one accent in the UK, you have another accent in Jamaica, and then you have another accent.
What are the signs of someone that would need? I thought she needed therapy, but she's quite fine. She's 20 now, so she's past.
All right, so
what are some of the signs that someone needs therapy?
All right, so back in regards to what you asked me about ages, we're known for seeing children because people are always wanting to help their children, especially if there's an issue early out and they realize that my child is not developing at the rate that they should be. But we also see adults. We see adults or older children who may have stuttering. We see adults who have had a stroke, who are in the midst of rehab because the area that they had the stroke in affected their communication abilities. So we see people of all ages, and it's kind of hard to focus on any one group in an interview, but usually when we're talking about children, if they're having developmental issues, we're going to look at their milestones. Certainly children should be saying at least 5 to 10 words by their first birthday. And if you find that your child is now inching towards 2 and they're barely using any vocabulary words, then that is a red flag. And you would want to begin to speak to your pediatrician about that, but also increase language readiness, vocabulary around the home. We want to increase reading to our children because they can't read at that age. But there are things that we
vocabulary around the home.
So
I would assume you're already talking to them. How would you go about increasing?
So are we talking to our children or are we caring for them?
Got it.
Because you can care for a child, which a lot of children are cared for at home, but they're not stimulated for language. They're not stimulated. We are not giving our children a blueprint for how to use speech and language. So I get a lot of calls. My child is 3 and she know everything in her car. She point, but she's not talking. And then I ask the question, well, how much screen time is your child getting at home?
Yeah.
And they're on the screen practically the whole time they're at home when they're not at school.
They're not encouraged to speak then.
And so they're not engaged. We, as human beings, and I say this on every interview, we are hardwired to learn speech and language through engagement, not through an iPad, not through Miss Rachel,
not through Duolingo,
not through Cocomelon, not through any of that.
Okay.
Take away the screens and begin to stimulate your children for language.
Quickly, let me, because we
have 1 minute.
Wrapping up.
Yeah.
1 minute. If persons want to find out more about what you do or to contact you because they have an issue, how can they find you?
So they can email us at speechtherapyjamaica@gmail.com. They can also visit our social media, which I believe is speech therapy _J. Let me look that up really quick.
That's okay.
But definitely speechtherapyjamaica@gmail.com. They can find us there for sure.
Okay.
And that's speech_therapy.ja.
Okay.
Instagram.
You.
They would be reaching me if they email me. Yes.
All right, beautiful. Listen, I'm sure we want to talk more about it because it's not something that we're overly familiar with. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure that we are going to have you back to have some more conversation. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. On that note, Daytime, I'll be right back and we're going to talk to Shavoy and company about his Jamaica in 21 days walk around Jamaica with Joseph.